here with your video introduction to your public writing assignment. Before I get started, I want to clarify one thing. The due date on this assignment sheet is for my classes that began in person and moved online. If you are in the online section, the section that's been online all semester, you have a different due date. Your due date is Friday, April 10th. So, that said, in this video, I'm going to briefly review the assignment sheet, tell you a little bit about the purpose of the assignment, and we'll look briefly at one sample piece. So, public writing. Up to this point in the semester, you've written primarily for a discourse community audience of expert readers. That is, your audience has either been me or a member of your academic or scholarly or professional discourse community. That means that you've been writing in genres that meet needs for the production of knowledge and or facilitation of industry. At this point, your audience will change. For this writing assignment, your audience is a public reader. So, what do we mean when we say a public reader? First, I want to say that there really is no such thing as the quote-unquote general public. That person doesn't exist. What you do have in a public reader is any number of individuals who will be drawn to your project because of its relevance to their daily lives. In other words, you're dealing with a reader whose attachment to your topic is through associations and relationships with other individuals, with their work, with their institutions they might join, and the media they consume. So what that means is your appeal to them needs to be based on that shared sense of space, social obligation, or some other type of community that is not scholarly or professional in nature. This is a bit of an adjustment for you because what you're doing is no longer, strictly speaking, about knowledge production. What you're doing here is really about public interest. And my apologies for the text alerts that come in over the screen. We're having a conversation a little bit about some of the self-styled experts who are publishing writing about COVID-19 despite not having a background in epidemiology or virology. So in a sense, these text alerts are actually incredibly relevant to what we're doing here. Now, let's take a look at the assignment sheet and let's take a look at what exactly we're going to be doing in this assignment. So, what I'm asking you to do is consider how non-experts talk about your area of expertise. In other words, where do you see your inquiry question, your topic, the thing you've been writing about all semester? Where do you see it represented in everyday life? What sections of the newspaper? What shows? What social media platforms do you see it on? And if you were to talk to someone who didn't study what you study, why would they care about it? This assignment asks you to look at non-discourse community exclusive media, so television, radio, internet, social media, to say, how does the general public encounter my topic? And how does the general public maybe bring biases, bring predispositions, or maybe even embrace accurately in some ways your topic? So the purpose of this assignment is really to, big picture, get a sense for how expert readers and writers, discourse community members, can positively and productively engage a public audience to further the values and objectives of their discourse community work, and also to, generally speaking, have a net positive impact on what we might call the public sphere or the society in which we live. So, what are you going to do? The first thing that you're going to do is surf the internet and identify an ongoing conversation of some public importance as evidenced through widespread public engagement. So trending topics on Twitter. What are the most popular articles on a given news site? And you're going to bring these in as exhibit sources where you're going to say, here's what they're doing. Here's why the writer's writing. Here's why the readers are reading. Here's the rhetorical situation. Perform a short rhetorical situation analysis on these articles. And once you've done that, connect the dots a bit and say, why do public readers care about my topic? And more to the point of why they care, how do they become self-styled experts on it? What do they want to know? What don't they know, and do they think they know? For instance, with the ongoing COVID-19 epidemic, you're seeing a lot of people with training in data analysis saying that, oh, we shouldn't have such severe restrictions, or uh, government should be doing something different. But most of these self styled experts don't have degrees in epidemiology or public health or virology. They have Excel and maybe a little bit of training in regression analysis. So, what this begs the question of is what expert knowledge, what discourse community specific knowledge is missing, and how can we spread that knowledge to a public audience in an engaging way that might support more meaningful and productive and helpful engagement from the broader public? So you're going to kind of go online and act as a little bit of a referee to say, here's my topic online, here's what it should be doing, here's what it is doing. What role do experts have in maybe entering these conversations and helping the public get a little more out of them? You're going to do this on medium.com. Here, I'm now going to bring up a sample project for you. So, with apologies for this project not being a technical one, this is on short sales and their influence on the stock market. What I'm going to do here is basically cover how this thing should look. So you'll notice the writer, Celine, a former student of mine who did very, very well in my class, she begins with an embedded tweet from Elon Musk. And then she goes through and treats it just like a quotation or any other piece of evidence in a writing project. She puts it in her own words a little bit, she considers the tone, and she links to another source that goes over it. She then relates it to the broader topic of short sales and why they matter. She brings in some other sources here, and then goes on to analyze exactly how the writers of the source are doing what they do rhetorically here. And so, as she moves between different types of sources, she also considers how things like video might work differently from a more conventional source like NPR. And again, she presents an audio source. So, one of the advantages of using the Medium platform beyond self publishing is that you can bring in different types of exhibit sources to say, for instance, what's in a video? Because guess what? Different people are going to go on YouTube than are going to listen to NPR or are going to read CNBC.com. So the idea is to tell a story across different platforms and specifically focusing on social media. How does engagement work? And what can we say about public readers from their engagement with these different sources? And how can we tell a story of our topic using different types of non-expert media? Now, you're probably wondering a little bit about the end result of this, the final word, right? So you might notice in the conclusion to this piece, the writer brings her expertise to bear pretty much with statements like this. To evaluate market efficiency, a very differentiated approach is required, blah, blah, blah. Thus, it is difficult to isolate the influence of short selling or price formation. However, it has to be said. So she's basically explaining an expert topic to a non-expert audience and showing how they encounter it in general discourse. So, in a few words, that's your job. Act as your expert analyst for a public audience. Tell them what they're actually reading, what they think they're reading, and how their conversation might be more effective. You're arguing for the value of your discourse community and your inquiry topic to the public sphere. And you're also acting as a little bit of a helper, someone to say, hey, I know you guys think you know what you're talking about and you're doing okay, but here's a few pointers you could take to have a more productive and informative and generative conversation. I'm happy to take questions on this assignment. I think it's a very topical assignment given what's happening in the world around us. And any questions, go ahead and post them in the course Q&A thread. Thanks a lot for your time.